Welcome to Inside the Distance, a combat sports show that's on the clock, discussing all things MMA, breaking down the top 5 fights on the next card, and our favorite UFC DFS plays and recommended UFC wagers. My name is Anthony Basilio, a.k.a. Bush, and this is Mike, the MadLab Iorato.
What's up?
We are from the MadLab MMA.com, one of the most trusted sources in MMA DFS and wagering. As a member, you get full breakdowns with finishing predictions for every fight on the card, MadLab's recommended DFS plays, our best wagers, private members-only podcast, members-only live stream on fight day, where we assist you with lineup construction and wagers, fighter metrics for every fighter, and our private Discord, where we watch the fights together and we cash tickets. MadLab has hit over 60% on his predictions spanning over a decade. All links to our site are below with a coupon code for $20 off your first month. Lastly, we're from New Jersey, so we work off of the gentleman's code. We'll provide fun, entertaining content every single week and do our best to help you win money on DraftKings and on betting. In return, all we ask is subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, share our show with anybody you know, any friends you know who are UFC fans, who like DFS, sports betting, and that's it. So smash the like button. Let's go. Here's how the show works. We have 3 minutes to discuss the topics, discuss the top 4 fights on the card, and 5 minutes for the main event. Before we start, we're going to do a little recap of last week's card. Merab destroyed Peter Yan, bro.
That wasn't even a fight, dude.
I can't believe it.
Did you see the...
I picked Yan. So I picked Yan. Mike picked Merab. We had a bet on Merab that ended up putting us on the plus side of things at the end of the night because of fat fucking Romanov. That was horrible.
What happened with that,
by
dude?
Romanov.
Well, we got away with one, too.
Which one?
Grant.
We got away with Davey Grant.
Because on the cards, they had a Sunset winning that fight.
Yeah, but hey, that's how it goes.
But that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Right, Romanov was a slob, but Merab came to fight. Set a record for the most takedown attempts in a fight.
44.
44 takedowns. I think it took him down, 14 times.
Bro, he had 13. I think he had 13 attempts in the 5th round alone.
Yeah, you know what even impressed me more? Because we knew he was going to do that. But, he might not hit hard, but he's striking. He was popping him all night. Yan didn't know,
Well, that's why the striking was.
He didn't know what to do.
You don't know what level it's coming from. You got to hit freezes against the striker. But we did say it. Even though you picked Yan, you did say it because we both said it. He's mentally broken, dude.
He's mentally broken, and I'm sure every fight fan who watches fights was thinking that, all right, round 3, Yan's gonna get going. Round 4, he's gonna get going. Is he a slow starter? Bro, he never
You can't.
He could not get going.
That's why I picked him.
He couldn't find his rhythm. He couldn't find the range. He couldn't do anything, dude. I've never seen him like that. He looked disgusted in himself at the end of that fight, man.
When you got a guy who's mentally broken like that, there's certain styles that you don't come back from. Merab is that guy. Merab is that guy that's not going to give you time to think. He's not going to give you time to adjust. And he's just going to come out of the gate hot. And providing his cardio was going to last, that was the only question I had. Is his cardio going to last for the last 2 rounds? Fucking guy looks like he can go 10.
Dude, if Romanov would have just won
and
like
then
he
Romanov, forget about it.
I would have cashed. Both of us would have cashed crazy because we had Merab peppered everywhere because Mike picked him. Romanov blew the night for us personally, DFS-wise, but on the wagering and the side.
Batista by submission we had.
We
had a parlay Harrison Silva.
We had a great night.
Yeah, we had a really good night.
Great night. Ended up with profit for all our members. And now we go up. We go into UFC 286. The rematch, Kamaru, Usman, Leon Edwards. I'm so excited to do these breakdowns. We're going to start from the bottom up. All right, Mike, you want to start the clock? All right, so the clock starts now. Let's go. All right, first fight on the card, the only women's fight on the card. We got the undefeated Casey Oneal against the always tough Jennifer Maia. Jennifer Maia, 1 fight winning streak, grappler, striking. She's 5-5 in the UFC. She's tough. She's a tough out, but I think she's starting to become in that stepping stone, right? For the up-and-coming fight. Hey, if you get through her, you'll get to that next level of people. Mm-hmm. She's tough for anybody. She could win on any given night. But, like I said, I don't think the UFC thinks much of her besides that as just a tough out for people. Almost like that guy, DeAndrade. What's his name? The little short. DeAndrade, is that his name? Like one of those tough outs, or like a Trinaldo. You go against that test, then you go into that next level of fighters. Casey Oneal quietly is undefeated, right? 9-0. Not a lot of people talk to her. High volume. All her fights scored no less than 100 and not up to 139. So for DFS-wise, she's a high-scoring fighter. Came in as a hot prospect, but no one talks about her that much. She is tough. I do think that she will win this fight, and I'm going to take Gaethje Oneal by decision.
Yeah, Jennifer Maia. The thing with Jennifer Maia is that she's been in the UFC since 2018. There's got to be a point in time where you either make a shift forward or you make a shift backwards, but you can't just stay the same. After a while, they just don't invest in you anymore. So they're at the point now with Jennifer Maia.
I'm saying. She's like just stagnant.
They gave her the opportunities to do her thing, and she's been up and down. She's got some good wins, she's got some bad losses, she's got some mediocre wins. She's fought a high level of competition, but she just can't get it right. She's 5-5, so it's not terrible, but she's not moving the needle. You got to move the needle. They got a young girl, Gaethje Oneal here, who's 9-0. She's in DraftKings. She's averaging well over 100 points in every one. She's got 3 or 4 finishes in her 4 UFC fights. And the thing with her is that why are they on this main card? They're not on the main card for Jennifer Maia. No. They're going to see if Gaethje Oneal can push the needle a little bit, and I think that's what they're doing here. So I'm going to go Gaethje Oneal by decision. Not thrilled about. I got to be honest with you. I'm not thrilled about her price tag, though. I like her price tag. I'm not thrilled about the line. I think it could be a little closer because there's something to be said about experience.
Sure.
The people that she's been in there with. But I do like Gaethje Oneal in this spot. I think the UFC is trying to move the needle with her a little bit, putting her on the main card. So that's the official pick is Gaethje Oneal by decision.
It is a tricky fight wagering-wise.
It is, yeah.
Because Maia, she's just a tough out.
Yeah.
I do think it should be a little bit closer. What do you think of $8,500 price tag?
I don't mind it, but I don't think she's gonna finish Maia. Every one of Maia's fights have gone to the cards except for one.
Because she's tough.
Very
tough.
So that's the thing. You're dealing with a tough girl. Inside the distance.
Let me finish that one inside the distance.
Right.
All right. Here we go. Mike always bitches to me. There's not enough time. There's plenty of fucking time.
For that fucking fight. I mean, Jesus Christ.
All right. Next fight on the card. Marvin Vettori. I should be a fan of Marvin Vettori because
he's Italian.
He's Italian, but I think he's just a jerk off. I think he's just like a
arrogant narcissist,
prick jerk off, and he doesn't have a high cage IQ. He makes a lot of dumb decisions in the cage. It's cost him in the past. But he doesn't have he lost to Whitaker. You can't cry about that. He lost to Adesanya twice. You can't cry about that. So. He's beat a high level of competition, but he does back it up. He's got great wrestling. His wrestling should nullify a lot of what Dolidze can do. But again, him as a minus 300 favorite, knowing that he makes those dumb decisions in the cage and doesn't have a high cage IQ, worries me a little bit. Dolidze has got a 4-fight winning streak. Daukaus, Hall, Sharopoli, Jack Hermanson was a great win for him. That was his last victory. He does a lot of dropping back for heel hooks. He's a student of Damian Maia, BJJ. He's a good fighter. I think Vettori's just a little better, and I think Vettori's going to, like you said, nullify what he's going to do with the wrestling. And I could see this being, a lot of top-heavy control on the ground for Vettori, and I think he wins a decision here as well.
Yeah, I'm just not sold on Dolidze. I haven't been since the beginning. You remember that. Never have been. I'm still not sold on him. I just think he's fighting over his head. He's got one good win in my opinion. That's Hermanson. That's a good win. But sometimes Hermanson doesn't show up either.
He shows up or he doesn't.
You know what I mean? Hawes, no gas. Daukaus, everyone was high on him, but he never proved anything. Staropoli, he lost to Trevin Giles. So, who did he really beat? I mean, is he good? Yeah. Does he fall back for heel hooks and stuff like that? Does he have a very good leg series? Yeah, he's got a good leg series. But he needs to be like a bully in there. That's what he's good at. You're not going to bully Marvin Vettori.
No.
Marvin Vettori will not allow you to bully him. He's got the much higher level of competition. He's more well-rounded. He's got good striking. He's got good wrestling that can nullify that grappling. He comes from a good camp. He trains with a bunch of good guys. The only thing about him is he's a prick. You know what I mean? He is. He's kind of a prick, right? But he's only lost to, he's lost to Adesanya twice. He's lost to Whitaker. He's losing to all top guys. He's beating guys like Holland. He's beating guys like Costa. He's beating guys like Hermanson. He's beating top-level guys. So if he beats Vettori here, then I will give him his due. I will tell, because Vettori comes out and fights the same way all the time.
Yeah.
He's never has a shitty fight. He's always looks kind of.
The Paulo Costa fight was one that was a great fight.
That's what I mean. He's always looking sturdy. He's always looking solid. You're going to get from him. It's a strong guy. So if he gets by Vettori, then I will give him his due. But I think you're going to see who Roman Dolidze is in this fight. I think Vettori's going to run through him.
You think so?
Yeah,
I think when it falls apart for Dolidze.
Yeah, I think it's maybe not run through him like finish him, but I think it's gonna. I could see a clear 30-27 come out in this fight if it goes to the cards.
You think minus 300 is a little steep?
Yeah, I think it's steep because we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But that's the way I'm looking at it. I think it's a little steep, yeah. But I do like him in this spot, and I'd be shocked. I'd be really, really impressed if Roman Dolidze beats him.
I would too. Real quick, the DraftKings price. What do you think? 9,100.
I don't know. Like I think it's a little expensive, to be honest with you. But I could see a path where Vettori does like maybe mount him, get on top of him. He turtles up and he finishes him. So I really don't hate it. I don't hate it, but there is value on Dolidze.
There is value on Dolidze. Okay, next fight on the card. All right, we got Gunnar Nelson. Guy, 3-year layoff, he fights. 1-year layoff, he fights. Submission specialist, karate, BJJ. He's a black belt under Renzo, third-degree black belt in karate. 12 wins by submission. That says it all. He was flatlined by Ponzinibbio. He never panned out, but he's not active enough, He's a high-level submission artist. He's fighting Brian Barberena, fan favorite, but he's on the wrong side of things when it comes to age-wise. He got destroyed by RDA. Before that, he had wins against competition that was also out of their prime. Robbie Lawler, Matt Brown. He's always a great guy to watch, but you're talking about two completely different styles here. The BamBam is a striker. He loves to get into that street brawl. You got this other guy, Gunnar Nelson, completely the opposite. Wants to get in the ground, wants to submit you, wants to choke you out. I don't see this fight staying on the ground, staying on the feet at all. I don't think Gunnar Nelson's stupid. I think Barberena, like I said, is over the hill. I see Gunnar taking him down early and often and getting an early submission. I'm going to say second-round submission, Gunnar Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pick Gunnar Nelson here. There's elements of this fight that do scare me.
If it stays on the feet.
Well, if it stays on the feet, I still give Gunnar the advantage. Gunnar comes in with that very classic Conor McGregor wide stance. He comes in with that Wonder Boy wide stance from the karate. So he can literally outpoint Barberena if they do get into the striking match. However, you don't ever want to get in the pissing match with Barberena. You just don't. I was lucky enough to, and I'm going to say lucky and privileged enough to go to Iceland and train at Gunnar's gym, Molsnar, in Iceland. And it was one of the most beautiful facilities I've ever stepped.
That's right, you went there.
Nice, and you could see when you walk in his foyer, he was the golden child back then. Like everything was Gunnar. They had everything Gunnar Nelson. He was like the guy, in that place. I didn't like when he was over at SBG. I don't like their style and stuff like that. But this is a super, super talented guy. I thought he was going to be a lot better than he was. And he's still good. He's still a good fightor.
He's 34. He's not that old.
But he's still a good fighter, but he's just not active enough. Brian Barberena, I have ties with him through family members and friends over at when he was over at the lab. Now, obviously, he's at Jim O. So I have respect for both of these guys, but there's just a different level of competition with Gunnar when Gunnar is on that I don't think Barberena can handle. So anywhere this fight goes, I don't think Barberena is going to be able to hang with him unless he can drag Gunnar into a pissing match.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that happen. But I am going to go Gunnar Nelson. I'm going to go Gunnar Nelson by submission because Barberena was submitted in his last fight against RDA. And this guy, as good as RDA is, Gunnar is a submission specialist.
I mean, if there is a wager to play, it's going to be Gunnar by submission.
Yeah.
I don't know what the line is on that prop, but, I mean, you're not going to put a straight bet on Nelson at minus 430. That's insanity.
No.
Unless you got big cojones. 9,200 if he finishes by submission.
I like Gunnar 9,200 because either way, it's going to be a high. Barberena is not going to go quietly into the night.
Yeah.
He's going to bring the fight to him.
He's probably one of the best over 9K plays on the card.
And he's got a 50% takedown defense, which that means one of two times Gunnar goes in on his hips, he's going to be able to take him down.
Yep.
So.
All right, there you have it. Now, banger right here, man. I've been looking forward to this fight for a while now, dude. Justin Gaethje, the human highlight. Last fight was he lost to Chucky Olives. That's not a bad loss right there. But, man, if you watch Gaethje and you watch the wars he's been in, he tries to drag you into deep waters. But this is a 3-round fight, not a 5-round fight, so there's not a lot of deep water to drag you in. You need to wonder about his chin, though, man. He's been taking a lot of shots for a long time. He's a fan favorite as well. But in this fight, which he's not going to do. He needs to wrestle, but he came in with such a high pedigree of wrestling, and he just doesn't use his fucking wrestling.
Never.
He never uses it because he fell in love with his hands, and I see the same thing that's going to happen here. Now, you're fighting Rafael Fiziev. I love this guy. As soon as I saw him come in, and I know Lab says be careful with this whole Bobby Green thing, because if you guys watched the Fiziev-Bobby Green fight, it was a real test for Fiziev. Like, Bobby Green took him all the way down. He almost lost that fight. It was a decision, but Bobby Green's also very fucking awkward style, man, especially for a striker. It's one thing about Makhachev that just laid out Bobby Green because he's an elite wrestler, maybe the best wrestler in the whole division. But it's another thing fighting Bobby Green on the feet with his awkward style. He does the Philly shell. He talks shit. He gets in your head. So that was it was a good test, really, for Fiziev. You know, and Fiziev came in and destroyed RDA and showed what he was really about. The guy's a dynamic striker. He was a kickboxer, man. His leg kicks are fucking vicious and quick. He's got great hands. He's tough. I mean, I think he's a real deal contender. I do. And I think he's minus 225 for a reason. I mean, I'd hate to pick anybody against Gaethje at that high of a price tag, minus 225, but man, I love this guy, bro. I love this guy. I'm a fan of his. And as much as I like Gaethje, I'm picking Fiziev to win. And like I said, I think he's a real contender.
I hate to say this, dude, but I don't think it's going to be that good of a fight. I really think that Fiziev is going to piece him up.
You might.
Because here's the thing. When you guys look at the Bobby Green fight, a lot of people are looking at that fight and go, look what happened with Bobby Green.
Naturally, of
exactly
course.
What he said with Bobby Green is that he's a very awkward fighter. This is a guy who moves laterally. He creates angles. He tries to set traps. He talks to shit about you. He's hitting you from all these odd ways, and he makes you chase him. Justin Gaethje doesn't do that. Justin Gaethje will just walk straight forward. So as he's walking straight forward, this guy is going to be able to set up his shops. He's going to be able to put punching series together. He's going to be able to reset. He's going to be able to see things coming at him. It's totally different. Now, if Gaethje decides to wrestle and throws a wrench in things, then we might see something a little bit differently. Now you got Fiziev trying to defend two levels. He's got to worry about the shot. What's going on now? Now he's throwing strikes. I've never seen him do wrestle. Now he's wrestling. What's going on here? It's just not going to happen. If Justin Gaethje and Trevor Whitman have not put a wrestling package together yet, I don't see when they're going to do it.
Right, he does train with Usman.
But it doesn't matter. He just when are you going to do
like
it?
Usman's
when are you going to
either.
go and shoot for a takedown? You know what I mean? Like when?
He never even tries it.
You know, so I mean, I think Fiziev is a type of fight where people want to believe that this is going to be a war, and I don't think it's going to be a war.
I hope it is too, but I'm rooting for Fiziev regardless.
Yeah, I think Fiziev wins the fight, and I don't hate that line either.
And I don't hate the price tag at 800.
I don't either.
I like it. He'll be one of the highest on.
When you're dealing, no, believe it or not, no, it's not true.
You do, because a lot of casuals are going to put on Gaethje. That's a good pivot play right
there. I mean, listen, it's a value play on Gaethje. I'm not saying you got to fade him, but what I'm saying is usually when you get these guys, they want to jump into the 9K range. They forget the 89, 88, and 87. That's no man's land.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I like it. All right, now we go to the main event. We got 5 minutes. I'll throw it on my clock too, so we don't go over it. Now, we all know what happened last time. This has happened quite a few times now in the championship fights where someone gets clipped in the 5th round, the last round, they're winning the whole fight. If you really go watch the fight again, sure, you might have an argument that Edwards won round 1.
He did.
He got that takedown.
No, he won round 1.
But then round 2, 3, 4, and 4 minutes of the 5 minutes of round 5, Usman was piecing him up, and Edwards had no answer for him. No answer. Well on his way to victory, right? In fact, the live line in the 5th round was what?
Minus 10,000.
Think about that. Usman was minus 10,000 in the 5th round.
That means like for those of you that are like, I mean, you obviously all know, but that physically think about taking $10,000 and putting it on a fucking table, and you're only getting $100 back.
I mean, so if you had the balls to throw a quick little stab on Edwards in the 5th round, he was probably plus 6,000 at that time because it's never the same. But
that's something you got to do. You got to, even if it happens in this fight,
$20,
you got to.
Right? Why not? Right? And
I didn't do it, but I'm saying you got to do it.
And that leg kick,
out of nowhere,
it was perfectly timed. Now I know after the fight, and I bought into this too. You know, that wasn't by accident. They were practicing that, and then they show all the videos of Edwards practicing that dropping. You know, and I get it. I'm sure they did practice that, right? But that shit didn't work at all for 5 fucking rounds.
Yeah, then all of a sudden, you save it for the end.
Usman was fighting like he shouldn't have been in the last 2 minutes of that 5th round. He had a huge lead. I'm not saying you run, but he got a little careless. He got fucking caught. That's what happens. New champ. Now, because of that, you know, the line is not what it normally would be. Usman in the first fight was over minus 400. Now he's come down to minus 250. I think Usman gets the belt back. I think this is an opportunity for us to tie Usman in a couple parlays here. Can Edwards win the fight? Of course he can win the fight. Guy won 11 fights in a row. He's definitely up there in the top 3 of the division. But I still think Usman's on another level. And just because he lost that fight by a leg kick in the 5th round, it doesn't mean that he dropped down to another level. Unless for some reason he's mentally broken, which I don't think he is. The guy has one of the strongest mental makeups of any fighter in the fucking UFC. I don't see it. I see Usman regaining the title. Is he going to finish him? Maybe not. I don't know. Either way, Usman's winning. I don't know how he's going to win this fight, though. I don't know by decision or by finish. But Usman gets the title back.
This is there's a couple things in Leon Edwards' favor that he could take from the last fight. He could take every pro from the last fight in one round. He was able to take Usman down. That's one success. He was able to body triangle and take control. That's another one. He was able to box him up a little bit. He was able to do a lot of things with Usman in that one round. He was able to win a round, that one round. So that gained confidence. All of a sudden, it's like you thought coming out of round 2, doing all these things where you're the first person to take him down in his UFC career.
That's right.
You got up. You had to get up. When he took you down, you were able to get back to your feet and take him. Like, he accomplished everything in one round. Yeah. And then he fell off, and he became a broken man. And the announcers were even saying he looks broken.
Remember the corner, what he looked like? He was defeated.
And then all of a sudden, in the 5th round, his people said to him, okay, look, what do you want to do here? Stop feeling sorry for yourself. They started saying, like, you're feeling sorry for yourself. Stop feeling sorry for you. And he comes back, and it's a beautiful story.
Sure.
It's a beautiful story.
And he's a guy that's hard to not like.
Yeah, and he's like, look at me now, and he's calling his mother, and it's a beautiful story. But the fact of the matter is this. Usman was taken by surprise in the 1st round. He never thought in a million years Edwards would even try to wrestle him. Okay, so there was a surprise element there. Then in the 5th round, when he knew, okay, I'm probably not going to finish this guy, but I'm well ahead. I'm not going to take any chances. This is that. He got loose. He got a little sloppy, and he got caught. Guys, that's exactly what happened. Like, I mean, any way you want to look at it, there's no, like, magic dust where fucking it was like the stars aligned.
Fight. No different than the Izzy Pereira fight.
Like, where stars just aligned for him on that night. He was a minus 10,000 going into the 5th round, which tells you it was a Hail Mary shot that won. Mind you, he's the champion. Well, you're not the champion until you defend the belt once. I've always said that. So he's got to defend the belt. But to think that, to sit in the corner and say, you know what, I think he can do it again. I don't know how you guys can say that. Like, if it was a really good fight, if there was a swing round in that fight and we were going into the 5th round and I was like, bro, this is a close fight, dude. I don't know how the judges are going to score. Then I could say, yeah, but where's your argument that Leon Edwards is going to win this fight?
And it was dominant. That's 2, 3,
yeah, like,
4,
where is your argument?
5,
so if you guys are, like, picking Leon Edwards, you're picking him to try to be a hero. You got to pick with realistic terms, and you got to understand that it's Kamaru Usman. Like, he dominated the whole fight. He got caught. He could get caught again, but there's no way I can pick against him. So you know, the line is. I'm not going to say it's high. I'm not going to say it's low. I think it's where it should be. You know, the $8,900 price tag, sub 9,000.
Usman.
When
has he ever been?
Yeah, you know, people are going to be on. You're never going to see Usman at that price anymore at minus 250 either. You know what I mean? So
unless he gets knocked out with a leg kick.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, like, there's value on Usman here. 5 rounds. You don't know if he's going to. He might come out and try to prove a fucking point and try to finish this fight. So definitely get some Usman, and I would tie him into a couple things. I don't know if I would bet him straight up. I'm not a guy who likes to lay that much juice. If you want to find, but he's definitely a parlay piece, and I would be very, very surprised if he loses this fight. So I'm going to go Kamaru Usman. I'm actually going to go Kamaru Usman inside the distance.
I'm laying the juice 2 units for
me. No, I'm not a decision. Kamaru Usman by decision.
I'm laying the juice 2 units for me on Usman. All right, quick little hot take before we wrap the show up, and then we have our Christine's dog pick of the week. We wanted to talk a little bit about this whole power slap, what's going on, right, Mike? You know, the hatred of Dana White. Look, man, I know a lot of people don't like Dana White. I fucking love Dana White. Now, I'm not making this a political thing. It's you like who you like. I think he's one of the best businessmen in all of sports. I think how active he is with everything. You watch this guy's work ethic, bro. He makes himself now. This might change now because he's pissed off with how the media's treating him. But I mean, this guy interview after interview and ask me anything on YouTube, and he's at this and Contender. He's sitting there with the judges and PowerSlap. I mean, the guy does not stop working. He's earned his way to being a net worth of whatever he is, $500 million. You know, the guy's just a winner, man. Has a passion for winning, and all the hate he's getting from PowerSlap, I don't know why. I don't know why. The thing was, all over the world, in different pockets of countries, they took a liking to it. They did all the tests and the things and blah, blah, blah. I know it's dangerous, and you're seeing these guys get cracked with one shot, but who are you to judge what people want to do and what kind of sport they want to play? And I believe in Dana White. I believe that he has a chip on his shoulder.
He does.
With this thing, and now he has a point to prove. And they actually got a pretty big viewership on the finale of the PowerSlap finale. I didn't get a chance to watch the last 3 of them because I'm in the West Coast and I couldn't get the app to work with the TBS, and I'm in bed like a fucking little girl at 8:45 every night. So I got to catch up and watch the rest of it. I liked it. I thought it was good. Is it early? Yeah. But how was the Ultimate Fighter in the beginning, the first year, the second year, the third year? Like, it takes time to build a fan base for these kind of things. So, you know, I don't know, you know, what Dana White's done with the UFC and what he did during COVID. We were starving for sports. There was no sports.
They don't appreciate that.
This motherfucker was the only one to have something going on during COVID for us to watch. Sure, it was a business decision too, of course, to get more viewership, but still that he pushed through that and just like I think the guy's fucking great, and I don't understand why people hate on him so much. I don't. I know he did the thing with his wife and he apologized.
But this is before that.
It isn't before.
This is before that.
Why?
I think that in anything you do, anyone who's super successful, you're gonna have haters. You know that. I think we see it on Instagram. It is what it is. It's a very hateful world when it comes to. We don't have a system anymore where people want to see people do better and want to do this. You know what I mean? So it's a feel sorry for me world now. That's what it is. A feel sorry for me world. And I think that what happened is like the media, and I noticed this with all the media outlets. They were every episode that it came out, it would say like, PowerSlap hits record lows, and then they would retweet, ha, 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 ha. But they didn't tweet about the finale, saying that the finale did really, really well. You know, so my issue is this. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. Like, I don't like fucking darts. I'm not going to sit there and watch darts. I'm not a huge baseball fan. Do I like the Mets? But I can't sit there every day and watch another Mets game. I just can't. You know, there's certain sports I don't watch. There's TV shows I don't watch. You don't have to watch it.
But they don't fucking watch it.
But to sit here and talk about this health and safety of it as a leverage, because when I say you're only hit 3 or 4 times in a fight, and then you come back and you tell me, this is what you're telling me. You're telling me, well, they can't roll with the punches. Tell that to Mickey Ward, who got hit with over 110 punches in one round of their trilogy. And they fought 36 rounds, and that was only 3 fights of his career. An average boxer throws 800 punches, lands 800 punches, 2 guys, 800 punches in a fight, okay? And you're talking about guys who logistically know how to generate power, throw punches, and you guys are bringing up gloves. Gloves aren't meant to protect the fighters' heads. Gloves are meant to protect the fighters' hands, okay? And it doesn't matter how cut up you are. It's the rattling of the brain. Constantly. That's what it is, the constantly trauma of the brain. So then you got bare knuckle fighting. You got these guys hitting each other with bare knuckles. They're sliced up.
And everybody loves
up,
bare knuckle.
And everybody loves it. So
I think it's great.
So you're talking about rolling with the punches. Go watch some highlights of boxing fights. Is where forget about rolling with the punches. There's times when you're walking onto a punch.
I think the bare knuckle's a good analogy there, because you're fucking punching with your bare knuckles, bro, as opposed to getting slapped with an open hand.
And it's not even that either. People don't understand it. It's a totally different punch when you fight bare knuckle. You can't throw a punch like you do in boxing. In bare knuckle, you got to corkscrew your punches. So you're actually corkscrewing. You got a small window that you'll break your hand. You can't hit them up here. You got a window. You know, and you guys, like, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. This is a straight up witch hunt on this guy.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to say names in this. Guys like Ariel Hwani and stuff like that. Like, if you're coming on and you're saying to Merab in his interview, and I'll bring it up. I don't care, because I do watch his show, and it's not hate on him, but this doesn't make sense. You're bringing Merab on, and instead of just talking to him about his fight, you got to throw a dig in. You got to say, well, how did it make you feel that Dana White rushed over to this slap tournament? Like, I got to be honest with you, Merab, if I was there, I want to interview a real athlete. So, like, what did they do to you that they're...
Why are you disparaging the PowerSlap fighters?
I'm not saying they're athletes, and I'm not saying it's a sport, but why are you disparaging them?
Yeah.
You know, so if I was Dana White, and he already said he was doing this the other day, he's making a documentary, and he's putting every media member that ever talks shit about him, and he's going to put their names, their faces, their tweets, everything in one documentary. And he's probably going to exile him from any UFC event, and I hope he does, because you don't deserve to cover the sport if you're going to always cover it in a negative manner. And that's just what I feel about it.
He created such a great... Think about how everybody talks about the UFC in the beginning. Like my dad, how could you watch this? This is disgusting. You know, this is too violent for me. No one says anything about that.
Somebody called him.
Now it's a beautiful sport with so much respect in martial arts.
Someone called him a dumb fuck. If that guy's dumb, what am I?
Yeah.
That he made $500 million in 2013. 10 years later, during one of the biggest economical crashes that we've ever seen.
We're in business right now because of Dana White.
We have $1.5 billion he made in 1 year after one of the biggest economic crashes ever, and he kept his entire staff on payroll.
Didn't lay nobody off.
Didn't lay anyone off. He made sure the fighters were active. That's why he did this whole thing. And he gained... The fan base that he gained during COVID is insane. Bro, he's the modern day Vince McMahon. I don't care if he's a good guy or not. I don't know him personally. Okay, but if you guys don't think that this guy, if he left this sport tomorrow, that it would take a major dip, you're wrong. It would.
And then lastly, you know, one thing that no one talks about, which I really didn't know until 6 months ago, was the Apex centers and what they're doing.
Yeah, they're building another one. Mexico, they're going everywhere.
I didn't know this. I didn't know that the UFC spends $8 million a month on that Apex Center, and everything in there for
it's free.
Any fighter who comes there,
it's free.
It's free. Training, the facilities, food, all the.
You don't even need to have a fight.
Nothing.
You don't even need to have a fight.
Go there and train whenever you want. He spends $8 million a month just to have the facility for any fighter to use. Like, there's a lot of things outside of it that we don't know about, that he don't talk about, that he does. And you know, I know the fighters should get paid a little more, and I'm sure over time they will get paid more, but that's none of our fucking business, man. We're fans. We're here to watch, and this guy's created a beautiful sport for us. And literally, we wouldn't have this business right now if it wasn't for the guy. So I don't care what anybody says. I fucking love the guy, and I love how he's just honest about everything. You know, he's just a straight up, the way he talks about things. He's just a real guy. I love the guy.
He's a guy's guy.
He's a total guy's guy.
He's a guy's guy. And I'm, like I said, I'm not saying that he hasn't screwed people over in the past or whatever the case may be.
Sure.
But the fact of the matter is,
I'm sure he can be a real cocksucker when it comes to business too sometimes. But
you have to be.
Yeah.
You have to be.
To get to that level, you
can't be patting everybody on the fucking back and let people run bloody murder. You got to be a fucking boss at the end of the day, and you can't. Imagine being in the fight industry. You're not in the fucking flower industry. Imagine being in the fight industry and you got to dictate to these guys.
All these animals, egos,
and I want this fight, I want that fight. You have guys that have no idea how this guy's nonstop.
Well, I love the guy, so.
Me too. I'm gonna be upset when he leaves.
Yeah, well, one day he'll leave, but he fucking loves it.
Yeah,
Media's gonna fucking drive him away, though.
He is talking about it, though. He recently, in everything he says, he's like, before I leave, we'll have this in place. Before I leave, he's been talking about it.
No. But for now, we love Uncle Dana, so sorry. Anyway, last but not least, Christine's dog pick of the week. And there we have it. So I'm psyched, man. I'll be in Joshua Tree this weekend. So unfortunately, me and Lab always watch the big fights. I'll be at a friend's house watching it up there, tuned in. And I can't wait to see Usman destroy Edwards. See you later.